Aloha. The power of God seeking to unite what is separated in the world. The power that unites heart with heart, soul with soul, life with light, culture with culture, race with race, and nation with nation. Eddie Aikau was born on May 4th, 1946 on the island of Maui. However, his father would soon decide to move to Oahu. During Eddie Aikau's childhood, Eddie showed a keen interest in music and surf. When he was young, he and his siblings already started to develop an appreciation for surf. Big surf. He's at home in the water. In 1977, Eddie Aikau won the Duke Kahanamoku Invitational Surfing Championship. Eddie Aikau suffered through many significant tragedies, but his love for surfing and heroism is what allowed him to triumph over all his tragedies and eventually become a legend.
Probably about 20 or 30 of us used to climb the trees up there and play chase master. We used to jump from branch to branch to tag the next person, and needless to say, it was dangerous. We had a couple broken arms and a couple broken legs, but again, Eddie was always the last guy to catch. Buddy Adolfo at that time was Eddie's mentor. He was a roaming volunteer on the North Shore, roaming from Mokula'ie all the way to Haleiwa, to Waimea Bay, to Velziland. He was a volunteer lifeguard roaming the North Shore, and he had actually mentored Eddie in priming him to be the first lifeguard at Waimea Bay in 1967. But one of the waves he caught in 1967 held the record as the biggest paddle-in wave all the way up until 2016 when we had the Eddie event. And his wave held the record for over 40 years as being the biggest wave ever ridden at Waimea Bay.
Eddie was a person who belonged in the ocean. As one of the first lifeguards in the North Shore and a great competitor in surf competitions, he built a reputation as one of the world's most skilled people when it came to oceans. Everyone knew that the biggest waves were at Waimea Bay. You have to have the best knowledge and skill to work there. Knowing the risks of being a lifeguard, Eddie still chose to continue because he was confident in his skills in the water, and as long as people needed help, Eddie would be there.
So you do know that at Sandy Beach, you have a 5 or 6 foot wave that breaks on a shallow sandbar, which is about 1 feet. So you have a 5 foot, 6 foot wave that breaks on a 1 foot shore break. And that's why it's dangerous, and that's why people break their arms and their legs, right? You understand that, right? You and your group.
Yes.
Now, take that to Waimea Bay and add 20 feet on it. And the wave is breaking in 1 foot water again. Just imagine the kind of damage that does to people.
He couldn't keep himself from going into the ocean even when the waves seemed too dangerous. With more than 10 years in the lifeguard tower at Waimea Bay, making over 500 rescues, Eddie Aikau hasn't lost a single life on watch. After Eddie Aikau's brother, Gerald Aikau, passed away, Eddie became distressed, as this was a huge tragedy for the tightly knit Aikau family. Because of that, the hukule'a is something Eddie took interest in, to distract him from the loss of his brother. For Eddie, serving on the hukule'a was rejuvenating. Eddie's love for surfing and the ocean is what influenced his entire life, so when an opportunity by the Polynesian Voyaging Society opened up in 1978 to volunteer on the hukule'a, Eddie was all in. He was thrilled to take part in the 2,500-mile, 30-day voyage between the Hawaiian and Tahitian island chains. Although weather conditions weren't ideal, the journey started on March 16, 1978. During the voyage, however, tragedy struck. The weather got worse, and a crack in the hull of the canoe led to the hukule'a being capsized 12 miles off the coast of Lanai. After 8 hours of the crew clinging to the canoe with no emergency radio or beacon, Eddie bravely volunteered to paddle for help on his surfboard. He was probably the only one aboard the Hokulea that could have made that trip for help, said one of his crew members. Unlike others, Eddie was daring. He knew the waves the best and wasn't afraid to go against the monster waves. Sadly, Eddie was never seen again. After the tragedy, Eddie became a hero, legend, and symbol of aloha spirit. The Eddie Aikau Big Wave Competition is a competition to help uphold Eddie's legacy. The contest was created to honor Eddie Aikau and all the sacrifices he made to help others. To continue Eddie's legacy, Quicksilver, the Office of Hawaiian Affairs, and Kamehameha Schools hold a competition whenever the surf is high enough. The competition is held whenever the waves are between 30 and 40 feet at Waimea Bay. The competition gathers 20,000 spectators, all there to honor Eddie. His message and what he stood for is what makes him such a legend. His legacy is not to live slave for yourself, but to help others, to be of service, said Clyde Aikau. Eddie would go is a saying that inspires many people. Aikau was a legend on the North Shore, pulling people out of waves no one else would dare. The bumper stickers actually do mean something. He had a courage about him that went beyond mental and physical courage. He would think less about himself and more about people in need, and he would end up just going. To many people, Eddie was a hero. Eddie's selfless spirit and courageous sacrifice struck a chord with people around the world. The legacy of Eddie Aikau is one created by his heroism and deeply found love for surfing, but more specifically his overall desire to always do something for the benefit of others, and sacrificing as much as he could to help whenever and wherever it was needed. Eddie's actions affected the culture of aloha throughout Hawaii, and he was and is a hero in many people's eyes because of his modesty and compassion.
But for me, the word Eddie would go means that when you do something, no matter what it is, whether you're playing basketball or you're a farmer or you're trying to work and make money to feed your family, Eddie would go to me is giving your 101% in anything that you do. And if you have an opportunity to help other people, that's what the phrase Eddie would go means to me. Just basically, when you do something, you do it 101%, no holding back, no holding back. That's like surfing the biggest waves in the world. You know, in order for you to be successful, you have to give it 101%. It cannot be like 90%. And helping other people is what the phrase really means.
3-1